Hey everybody, my name is Joey Fight. I'm the founder of thephysicaleducator.com and a physical education teacher here at St. George's School of Montreal. Welcome to The Phys Ed Show. The Phys Ed Show is a podcast, a vlog, and a series of live events through which I'll be sharing ideas and resources for my teaching, interviews with amazing thought leaders, and other fun opportunities so that we can be learning as much together as possible. In today's very first episode of the vlog, I want to be sharing with you one of the standards-based lessons that I taught earlier this year. The idea here is that I can show you how I go about my planning, my instruction, and my assessment, all within the lesson in action. So if that sounds good, get ready for this, because here we go. As I looked through my curriculum map at the start of the school year, I remembered I ended last year not feeling super satisfied with how I helped my grade 1 students reach one of the outcomes in their FMS locomotor unit. Outcome S2E2-1B states that students can travel demonstrating a variety of relationships with objects. Although I know I included this outcome in my assessment and teaching last year, I want to go back to the drawing board so that I could do a better job of breaking it down and making it fun for my students. Now let's unpack this outcome. Using the unpacking process that I have blogged about in the past, you can find links to that in the description below, I identify the action statement and content of this outcome to break it down into smaller content blocks. From those content blocks, I will identify even smaller learning pieces which will serve as the content for my lessons. Now that we know what content we'll be teaching, it's time to determine the evidence of learning that we will look for in our lessons. As I determine this evidence, I try to think of what it will look like at different levels of mastery. Once I've done this, that's when I map that evidence out into the learning roadmap that I will refer to throughout my lessons, planning, and assessment. You can find a link to more information on learning roadmaps in the description below. Now here's the thing, up to this point, nothing was different than how I went about things last year. My challenge here was to try and show this outcome to my students and help them reach it in a way that was exciting and meaningful to them. That's when I got the idea to present this outcome to my students and help them explore it through the lens of obstacle course racing. My friend Andy Vasily taught me about using provocations in your teaching. A provocation can be anything from a quote to a trip or even a video. For this lesson, I shared a promo video for the Ottawa Spartan Race. A lot of my students had heard about obstacle course racing before and were excited to see it. Some of their parents had even run in that very race. After the video, I asked students to share some of their favorite parts and asked them to reflect on how the people were moving in relationship to the different obstacles. Following this discussion, we went over the what, why, how for the lesson, making sure to use parts of the students' responses to fill out the why section. By the way, all of this had been displayed on the big screen TV that we have in our gym, which you can learn more about in the description below. I then invited the students to all go grab their Plickers cards on the Plickers wall, which is a procedure we had been working on in class. Using the Plickers question template that I created in Keynote, I asked my students to identify relationships with objects. As the students shared their answers using their Plickers cards, I simply scanned the class after each question to quickly record all of their answers. This would lay some of the groundwork for the assessment that would happen later on in the lesson. Now at this point, I've introduced the learning to the students, I've captured their imagination and curiosity, and I've collected some data on their prior knowledge. That said, it was definitely time to get these kids moving, so let's go see what we got up to outside. So welcome to the Little Kids Playground here at St. George's School of Montreal. I picked this location for this lesson because the students are familiar with it, they know how to be safe here, and it has all these awesome play structures that the students can interact with as they learn how to move in relationship to different objects, which is the whole point of this lesson. So for this part of the lesson, I printed out and laminated 2 sets of my Movement Concepts relationships cards. I then placed the cards and holders throughout the playground to create 6 stations, 1 for each squad of my class. Once the students knew where each station was set up, I explained to them that they were going to get a chance to create their own obstacle courses today by moving in a variety of relationships to the objects and play structures in the playground. At each station, the students had to come up with a cool, fun, and safe way to move in relationship to the play structure based on the card that was assigned to that station. After a few minutes, the squads would rotate stations and get to a new section of their obstacle course. This continued until all the squads got to experience all of the stations. As the students explored, take risks, and have fun, I was moving around asking them to show me different ways of moving in relationships to the play structure at the station where they were. Using my iOS numbers gradebooks, I kept track of where I was placing the students in regards to the learning roadmap levels as I went along. This early formative assessment, combined with the Plickers data from earlier in the lesson, would help me guide my planning, instruction, and feedback as we move on throughout the lesson and unit. The best part of this lesson was just seeing how excited the students were with their risk-taking and exploration throughout the whole lesson. I can't even tell you how often I got the question, "Can I show you something?" Because the students were just so excited to be sharing the things that they were coming up with throughout the lesson. After about 60 minutes of playing here outside, I brought the class back in. We went back over our outcomes for the lessons. We shared things that we're grateful for that day, and then I dismissed the class for recess, where really the students just continued to play with the play structures, coming up with cool ways of moving in relationship to objects. Now in the following lessons, we would continue to build upon what we introduced in this lesson. The goal here in this unit is to eventually take the students to a place where they're able to design their own obstacle course race, in which they'll include different levels, different pathways, and obviously different relationships to objects. Now this lesson wasn't perfect. I definitely want to continue tinkering with it to see how I can make it better in the future. Notably, really what I want to look at is how I can make the start of the lesson a lot more active. I'm thinking I might take the Plickers assessment that I did at the beginning of the lesson and move it more towards the end. That said, I was really happy with how this lesson turned out, and more importantly, I was really excited to see the students being so creative, having fun, and especially just learning along the way. So that's it for this first episode of the Phys Ed vlog. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, if you could leave a like down below, I'd really appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on any future episodes. Finally, if there's anything that you want to learn more about, if you're looking for any of the links to everything I talked about in this vlog, please be sure to check out all the links in the description below. Once again, my name is Joey Fight from thephysical educator.com. Thank you so much for watching, and happy teaching.